libraries be doing to be an important part of the county government's effort to serve those in need?
Oh, that's a good question. That's a good question. The county libraries just took a 27% hit. And so let me tell you from what I know, the folks that leave our shelters in the morning go to the libraries. So those of you who are at the libraries might not think that that's where they should go. But on a cold day, I thank you for your care and attention to those adults who have no place to be. I do think that the only way, I don't think the libraries can withstand another cut, because libraries are our access to an equal level playing field. Library gives you, I grew up without a TV, that's probably not my loss, but that said, my mother had a car that had a bumper sticker that said, "This car stops at all libraries." We need to keep our libraries open. We need to make sure that when a volunteer with a skill set steps forward, that we can give that person an opportunity in a library. You know, I have to stop right now because I had lunch with Senator Sarbanes last week, and he says, "I don't get why we're closing libraries when the 7-Eleven is open 24 hours a day." He said there is so much of value and substance for the community in the library, nothing against 7-Eleven, but not necessarily of the same value. So what we have to do is be more creative. How can we keep those doors open, keep the community safe, and create access for people looking for work, opportunities for volunteers from a whole variety of communities who really don't know yet that they're welcome as part of the citizen corps that we have here in the county.
Thank you. Next candidate. Our next candidate is Fred Evans.
I didn't go to the library in my mom and dad's car because when I was young we didn't have a car. We got there by mass transit. In Pittsburgh, where I grew up, I don't know if I said I was from Pittsburgh yet, but some of you know. I won't say I'm a Steelers fan because I got booed in another form. But my point in saying that is I literally went to the local library by trolley or bus, and it was easy to walk to the trolley or bus. That's the first point. The second point is, when we see ourselves cutting libraries by 21%, we've got a serious values problem in Montgomery County. Because libraries can be and should be and are great equalizers. And especially in an internet age where someone can't afford to purchase a computer or a laptop, that is, I go to the Rockville Library often. Take my daughters there, Olivia and Grace. And I often see you can't even get on a computer because they are being used by citizens who I assume don't have access, or ready access, like I am fortunate enough to have. So I think libraries, we have to find creative solutions to keep the funding there. And as Becky has said, I like that 7-Eleven analogy, but as Becky has said, why are they able to stay open 24 hours and we have to cut back on our library usage? I am a strong and vibrant advocate of those kinds of services for our communities, and I'll make sure when I get on the council that I fight for every dollar for those kind of services.
Thank you. Our next candidate is Hans Reamer.
I was very distressed to see the cuts to the county library system. As a regular library user, I felt that personally. I'm very proud to be supported by Art Brodsky, who's head of the library group here in the county. But one of the things I think we should really focus on to help families in need is making sure that children have access to our library system, and that the families with young children are provided with resources to help them learn how to read, to learn English, just to have fun and have a good time when they're not in school. And I know, like many of you, I was really just saddened to see that Montgomery County is now the only county in the state not participating in the state's summer reads program. It's really it's just a sad sign of the times. But I'd like to see us get back on track, because I think, again, you know, my son is 3, he'll be 3 in September, and we just spend so much time in the Silver Spring Library and around the county, and it would just, it distresses me to think that there are families that don't get that kind of quality time, or it may not be because the libraries aren't open when they're working, or the programs that they look to are being cut. In terms of how we could help turn that around, one of the projects I've worked on for for a while now at ARP, where I work ARP, it's volunteer engagement. And what we do is we help people figure out ways to get involved in their community, because people who are over the age of 50, they want to participate in their community. And we want to give them opportunities to do that here in Montgomery County. So I know that if the county did focus more on mobilizing our citizens here to get involved in the libraries, I think we would do a better job of providing services. So that would be one area that I think we could also provide some support.
Thank you. Our next candidate is Mark Elrich.
What we said about the libraries, we could have said about a lot of social services in the county. We made some extraordinarily difficult decisions this year, and they weren't decisions that any of us made very easily. As a former school teacher, I don't have to tell you how important it is for kids to have a place to go and get access to information. And I taught in one of the most impacted schools in the county, and most of those families didn't have access to computer, internet, and they went to the libraries to do that kind of activity. So it's really critical that the libraries function and preserve that service. The question is, how are we going to get back to restoring that? I'm reasonably certain, I think most people are, that this recovery is going to be slow, and that money trickling back in is not going to come in very fast, and that frankly, we're going to be hammered by a couple of things. One is, unless we change maintenance of effort, schools are going to demand a greater and greater part of the budget. And under the physical reality that we're dealing with, the amount of money that we have to put in reserves is more than we ever put in before, and that leaves less in the middle for everything else, public safety, public health, and we've got to find out a way to deal with that. I happen to think that the county needs to change its approach to how we govern. I believe we need to look at our work processes, we need to look at our business management practices, we need to take the approach, and this applies to everything. When you or a piece of paper hits the county, we need to find out how many desks does it stop in, how many people do you talk to before you get a resolution, how many of those steps and people add value, and how many of the steps and people can I do without in order to get to the final service provider who provides you with the service that you're looking for. If we do not do that level of analysis, we are going to continue to struggle. It's why I think that when we talked about the police department and the merger before, if we're not willing to look at things and say, what do you want this service to provide? I know what I want in the parks. I know that there are opportunities to save. If we're not going to do that analysis, we are going to be stuck. We have to put everything in this county on the table and see if there's a better way we can do it. Because there aren't any miracles and there's no money that's going to drop out of the sky to save us.
And our final candidate on this question is George Leventhal.
Well, libraries are absolutely a vital part of the community, certainly at a time like this one where unemployment is on the rise. People use libraries to help them find jobs, identify job opportunities. Those who don't have access to the internet at home get access to the internet in the library, and it's very true, as Becky said, that there are people who may not have any other place to go during the day who may end up in the library. Certainly children after school are able to do their homework in the libraries. The entire county council understands the value of libraries. The county executive proposed a very deep cut to libraries this year, and the county council agreed to the county executive's proposal. We're not going to continue cutting the libraries as much as we did this year, because if you cut a department by a quarter, you can only do that. You can't do it 3 more years, we wouldn't have a library department. I'm confident that resources will be restored to the libraries. This was a very, very difficult year for the library department, but many good things are happening with brand new libraries coming online in Rockville, in Germantown. It was said that libraries were closing. The only libraries that have closed are being closed because they're being renovated on site at the existing property in Gaithersburg and Olney. We did not close any libraries permanently, and we reached a creative partnership with the Kensington community to keep the Noyes Children's Library open. So this is all in my committee. I'm in very close contact with the library department. How can they modernize? How can they be more efficient? How can they make better use of technology? How can they be accessible online all the time? We need to find ways to achieve efficiencies but still preserve those things that make libraries such a vital part of the community.